Shivamurthy Muruga has been arrested 6 days after the FIR was filed.
Age, after 60 or 40, 50, 60, there are chances of some diseases like heart problems and all.
ಕಾನೂನು ಪ್ರಕಾರ ಎಲ್ಲವೂ ಕೂಡ ನಡೀತದೆ. ಈ ಸಂದರ್ಭದಲ್ಲಿ ಮಾತನಾಡುವುದು ಸರಿಯಲ್ಲ. ಅವರಿಗೆ ಮುಕ್ತವಾಗಿ ನಾವು ಸ್ವತಂತ್ರ ಕೊಟ್ಟಿದ್ದೇವೆ.
Hello everyone, you're watching News Epicenter with me, Maria Shakil. The powerful Lingayat Seer, Shivamurthy Muruga, accused of sexually assaulting two minor girls aged 15 and 16 in his mutt for over 3 years, was finally arrested last night, 6 days after the FIR was registered, where he has been booked under the stringent POCSO Act. It was days of public pressure and sustained protests that finally led to this action. Shivamurthy has been accused of rape and has been remanded to police custody till the 5th of September. But even till the last minute, he tried to play every trick in the book to avoid arrest. He cited chest pains. His team said he suffered a serious heart condition and could suffer a cardiac arrest. They even said he had been unwell for the last 15 days, said that he had recovered from COVID, but here is the flip side. Police sources say he tried to flee to Dubai to avoid arrest, but was intercepted and sent back to Chitradurga. He was carrying his passport as he was trying to flee the country. The court did not accept the health defense and demanded the seer be present for the hearing, following which they granted the police remand. But there have been glaring lapses in the 6 days leading up to the arrest. While the seer claimed the charges against him were a conspiracy, he was at the scene of the crime before he was arrested. In fact, while the seer was free and at the mutt, a police team along with members of the Child Welfare Committee took the survivors to the hostel as part of the investigation. Imagine them reliving the horror they faced for over 3 years with the seer in the vicinity at that moment. Now all eyes are on the state government, the process of investigation, where there will be any progress at all or not, and the delivery of justice. But this case has also been under the shadow of cover fire from the political class, where all parties have soft pedaled when talking about the case, and no one has shown sympathy or solidarity with the survivors. In fact, former Karnataka Chief Minister B.S. Yedurappa called the charges a conspiracy, while the state Congress chief D.K. Shivkumar called the seer a noble man who has done a lot for the state. Clearly, their top priority is the political calculations when dealing with the powerful Lingayat community with the state elections round the corner. The big question remains, even after this arrest, will the system deliver justice to these girls? First, here's what happened today.
A dramatic late-night arrest at the Sri Muruga Mutt in Karnataka's Chitradurga. 6 days after he was booked for raping two minors, the law has finally caught up with Lingayat Seer Shivamurthy Muruga Sharanu. Under heavy security, he was presented before the magistrate court, which sent him to 14 days judicial custody.
People have all gathered here in a huge number as they heard this news of the seer being arrested, how the barricades in hundreds are being placed at DC Circle and at the multiple locations to ensure that the law and order situation is in place and no untoward incidents takes place.
But the very next morning, he was rushed to the hospital after complaining of chest pain.
We have done ECG for Muruga Sharanu. Now it is showing some changes regarding myocardial infarction. Heart attack changes are there.
The excuses, though, fell flat. The seer was taken to the district court in a wheelchair, where he was remanded to police custody till the 5th of September.
You can see the vehicle is very much been parked in front of the court, and that's the entry gate that we're getting to see. There's a police vehicles too being parked right in front of the police. In fact, wanted his custody for 5 days, asked the court for it, and the court says without accused, how will a law even let you for a custody? So the accused will at any cost will have to be present in front of the court.
The seer is facing charges under the Prevention of Children Against Sexual Act and the Scheduled Castes and Scheduled Tribes Act because one of the victims is a Dalit. The two girls are aged 15 and 16 years. The seer is accused of beating them and sexually assaulting them for over 2 years with the help of a lady warden, a junior pontiff and other staff. The arrest came only after massive outrage against the Basavaraj Bommai government for not doing enough.
ಕಾನೂನು ಪ್ರಕಾರ ಎಲ್ಲವೂ ಕೂಡ ನಡೀತದೆ. ಈ ಸಂದರ್ಭದಲ್ಲಿ ಮಾತನಾಡುವುದು ಸರಿಯಲ್ಲ. ಅವರಿಗೆ ಮುಕ್ತವಾಗಿ ನಾವು ಸ್ವತಂತ್ರ ಕೊಟ್ಟಿದ್ದೇವೆ. ಆ ಕೆಲಸ ಮಾಡ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದಾರೆ.
Many have blamed the political patronage the seer enjoyed across party lines for the police initially going slow on him. Given the Lingayat community's political clout in an election-bound state, most parties have either maintained silence on the issue or come out in support of the seer.
However big or low a person may be, the offence Moscow law is very clear. I was not happy that many political parties, even our own president, Congress President Mr. Kumar said, he's a noble person.
So will the seer's clout come in the way of a free and fair probe in the case?
Public pressure may have led to the seer's arrest, but the fight for justice is a daunting task because there are many glaring questions emerging from this case. First, if the seer was unwell for 15 days, how did he try to flee? Why? Why did police not arrest him when he was trying to flee to Dubai and the police in fact caught him at Haveri, which is roughly 100 kilometers from Chitradurga? Why didn't the police seize his passport after he was intercepted? Did the seer tamper with evidence when he was at the mud? Remember, that has been the scene of crime. And for all of these 6 days, from the time the FIR was lodged till yesterday, he has been in and out of the mud. Is a court-monitored probe imperative for justice? Should the case be moved out of Karnataka for a fair probe? Joining me on the show, Acharya Vikramaditya is a religious preacher. We have Pramila Nisargi, senior leader of the BJP. GB Patil is secretary of Jagatik Lingayat Mahasabha. BT Venkatesh is a lawyer. KV Stanley founder. Secretary Udanadi NGO, the NGO which has been leading this entire fight for justice for the survivors. Mr. Patil, finally the arrest. The seer was taken to the hospital. He walks inside. Then a medical team declares that he has had a cardiac arrest. Then he refuses to make a physical appearance. Finally, the court sees through his lies and orders him to appear and then sends him to custody, not hospital. Why should we believe that even now the investigation will be fair?
I think this Karnataka investigating authority is making a mockery of this POSCO Act. In fact, they have not done anything for 6 days. They have not inquired him. After arrest also, he has not been inquired. He has not been interrogated. And nothing has happened. Today he said that he is unwell and he has been taken to hospital. Probably this is one more problem, I feel, because I understand anybody will have the health problem. But the health problem, it doesn't mean that at this juncture, at the same time, look at the girls. They have suffered almost 2.5 years, 3 years. That one has to see, and I would request the investigating authorities to listen to the inner voice of their own, and judicial officers also should do the same, because here the seer is absconding from the responsibilities of answering the questions.
Yes.
I feel they are
cops are
making
not
a mockery
listening.
of POSCO Act, which is a very, very
Absolutely.
stringent law.
They are making the mockery of the procedure. They are making mockery of every system. The politicians are giving him cover fire. They have been making statements to prejudice the case as well. Mr. Venkatesh, we are looking at this, petition that was filed by a group of lawyers in the Karnataka High Court. They had demanded free and fair investigation, and of course, the arrest happened yesterday. I'm trying to understand from you, sir, given that even after arrest, the process of law has not been followed. that the court was not informed that he's being shifted to a hospital, that this entire medical board of local doctors declared him medically not fit, in the sense that he could have had a heart attack. All these theories that have been built around it to give him some kind of safety, or maybe perhaps move him to a hospital, but the court sent him to police custody instead. Can we really believe that there will be justice even now?
See, police are all, and in such cases, have officiated as a state public prosecutor. I have seen a number of cases. I have been a special prosecutor in POCSO cases. When the case has some political importance, the police are always under tremendous pressure. I think we should understand that in the given context in this case, he being Seer of one of the very prominent Lingayat Mats in Karnataka, and the kind of clout he enjoys in political sphere, irrespective of the political party. You can see that there is absolutely total silence from any political party making any statement in support of the survivors. It's really shocking, and it demonstrates the amount of clout this person has. So therefore, the protests are happening across Karnataka. There has been a serious demand now that this case need to be transferred out of state for a proper investigation, proper trial.
So do you think that is the only way?
Is really
yes.
certainly not going to benefit. The second reason which I would like to state is that in this particular case, the 6 days of time after the complaint not being arrested demonstrate the kind of space available for a person to destroy evidence available in. It's one of the major challenges that we see in any criminal case. The most important thing is that any case of this nature, more particularly POCSO, which is on the very stringent laws. In this case, POCSO and Prevention of Atrocities Act, where he is not entitled to anticipatory bail at all. And in such case, that the police don't take action, and the officers the audacity to make a statement. It's the choice of the police to check whether to arrest or not to arrest, whichever the case. I think that it demonstrated the amount of pressure that the officer was putting.
Yes, but Mr. Venkatesh, why I say that it's problematic from the day one, because if he was running away, if he was trying to flee to Dubai, the documents and the passports were missing from Mutt. That very moment when he was, stopped at Haveri, sent back to the Mutt, that very moment he should have been arrested. That did not happen. He instead goes to the scene of crime, where that Muruga Mutt, where the Seer, he belongs to that Mutt. He represents that Mutt. Instead, what we see is that girls are taken to that by the child welfare group, and they are made to relive that horror with the pontiff, the person who has, abused them, right next to them. What kind of law that we are looking at? What kind of investigation is really happening here?
Really very shocking, because the amount of pressure that the police are. That's precisely the reason where there has been a loud demand for the case be transferred out of the state, because people don't feel comfortable in this, that with the kind of political clout the person has, there's little possibility of justice. Therefore, that's the fear that is being expressed. You must really thank Vadanadi for coming up with such case where they have given confidence to these girls to open up and make a statement.
Yes.
It would not have been possible at all.
K.V. Stanley,
I think Vadanadi has been working on this for quite some time on these right-based issues. I'm really proud that we know Stanley and Purushu.
Thank you.
The work which they
your
have
efforts
done.
being lauded, and rightly so, by Mr. Venkatesh, by Mr. Patil and several others. All of them are of the opinion that this was a fight which has just begun, but in this fight there will be several ups and downs.
Serious challenges, very serious challenges.
Very serious challenges. Mr. Stanley, when you look at what has happened even post the arrest, are you still hopeful that there will be justice, or should this be a court-monitored probe or an SIT?
See, there is justice is always there. It is depending on the
change system of stakeholders, like right from the NGOs to the judiciary. We should we should take this forward with all our integrity. We should not be, uh, act like stupid people or like corrupt people while attending these high-profile cases, especially. This is the time to show our integrity. This is the time to show, this is the chance given to some professionals or judiciary, advocate, or NGO, or whoever may be, to prove his integrity. I think from day one, we have observed series of lacunas in the investigation or the procedures, right from CWC to the police officers, how they have handled this case. On this basis, I have my own inhibitions about the justice, amount of justice which will be given to these two young
and we share your
small
inhibition,
children.
Mr.
So
Stanley.
I am suggesting
Yes, please.
probably to get rid of the pressure, this kind of cases, or particularly this case, should be shifted to the neighboring states of Tamil Nadu or Kerala, where the police of that states are more free and they can investigate better.
Mr. Patil, will you today appeal to the politicians, and I can see Acharya Vikramaditya as well. Acharya Vikramaditya, coming to you, can religious leaders like you, because just as politicians, you are also tight-lipped, talking about a larger conspiracy. If anything, the circumstantial evidence suggests that there has been, the accused has much to explain about his own conduct in the period from where the FIR was lodged till the arrest yesterday.
Nobody can accept the allegations like that is the person whosoever is doing this thing, or if the person is basically involved in these kind of activities, nobody will be accepting this thing. He should be hanged. But the problem is basically we have to first investigate the matter in a thorough manner. Just making by allegations, we have seen in past also so many allegations were made. And even in the Supreme Court, there were some cases were there where this act was misused. So we have to investigate this matter in a very thorough manner. Just by making allegations, and just by in past also we have seen very big people were allegations were made against them also. So we have to wait and watch. And if this person is basically have done something wrong, then he should be hanged.
Okay.
He should be hanged.
Okay.
But I think some people are in very fast mode to give their own decisions.
No, but Acharya Vikramaditya, if anything,
you should have a faith on the court.
If anything, there cannot be any faith certainly on the justice system, in the sense the process of law, because the process of law has not been followed till now in this case. We do not have faith in the cops here.
Are basically very much eager to get the
we do not have faith in the cops here, and no faith in the politicians of the state.
In one of them, there was a case against Shani Baba. And
yes.
Even in that case also, basically, the allegations which were made, they were false. And even there was a PIL filed in the Delhi High Court some around 2 years back, in which it was the data was given that only 18% of the POSCO cases, in which the people were they were the right cases.
But Acharya Vikramaditya, shouldn't that be investigated? Has even investigation been followed in the true letter and spirit? That hasn't happened here.
No, we have to investigate. The investigation is on. We should rely on the court also. I think we are not even relying on the court also.
B.V. Venkatesh, please respond to what Acharya Vikramaditya is saying.
One of the major challenges that we face in this state is that you must remember the law is so stringent on this particular aspect. It's the accused who is presumed to be guilty. Accused is presumed to have a mental state of having committed the offense. The mens rea is already there the moment an accusation under POCSO is made. The gravity of this particular law is that they are children. They have little knowledge regarding what is being done to them.
We are very much
given such a person who is committing it so grave, so therefore the law is very stringent.
18% of the cases.
One of the major challenges is that 90% of these cases are undone in the system, and it's really a shocking situation. In fact, when they make a statement that only 18% are false right cases, it's not the case. It is that the system is yet to really function in the right spirit to ensure that the burden is placed on the accused.
Yes.
Two, the amount of influence a child faces in a case of POCSO is enormous. As a person who has officiated as a special public prosecutor in a number of cases of POCSO, I can as well imagine that. In this particular case, that's the reality. Precisely for that reason, Mr. Stanley from Bodanadi, a number of them in state are seeking that this need to be moved on. Just imagine, look at this kind of situation we have. The moment a person faces a serious issue, if he's influential, if he's a film actor, or a pontiff, or a politician, suddenly they have an illness, and the amount of effort given by the state to protect their health demonstrates that there is a law for the commoners and there is a law for not so
absolutely,
commoners.
absolutely,
And
Mr. Venkatesh, you have
very
raised a
ordinary
valid
and
point
very
that why do all of these high-profile
more
accused
than others.
become ill, have some kind of chest pain the moment they are arrested?
Look at that. There is.
It's a
we
mockery
come
of
across in
illness
this
also.
State, a six-pack wala film actor, the moment he's arrested, he has a problem.
Yes.
He has a health issue and
Yes.
taken to the hospital.
Mr. Vikramaditya.
A politician has a health
Okay,
issue. and
Acharya
taken to the hospital.
Vikramaditya.
A pontiff has a health issue and
Have
taken to
that
the
kind of
hospital.
condition.
If
Maria,
it is
even
commoners,
normal person
they
can
don't.
have it.
They have least bothered. Look at the case of Stan Swami, very important.
Huh.
Look at the case of Stan Swami. They had objections in giving him a straw for a person who was suffering from Parkinson's disease. And here see the comparison. I say that the law is so partisan in these cases that law functions in a manner like very Orwellian. All are equal, some are more equal than
Yes,
others. That seems to be the truth.
that's a good quote there, Mr. Venkatesh. Yes, a quick response from you, Acharya Vikramaditya. Why is law different for commoners and these high-profile people?
No, this is not a matter of high profile or low profile. It's a matter of basically when the allegation is made against some person, that is a normal phenomenon. Basically, people don't have that gut to, basically, if somebody is making allegations.
There is presumption of guilt here in this. That mens rea is against him. That's the law.
Understand this.
And
The
if you don't know
allegation
law,
is
I
made.
can't help it. And that's not an argument you can place here.
You are basically
POCSO
trying
case
to
very
win the
clear.
person.
Law is
You're
very
trying to
clear that the person is
It-
presumed
Most
to have a
cases
mental
we have
state for having committed the
18%,
offense.
only
POCSO law is
18% of the
absolutely
cases.
clear on
The
that.
basic-
Section 129, 39,
Accused-
very clear on that. And therefore,
Accused
bail is not granted in great number of cases.
Okay,
Getting
let me
bail
bring
is very tough.
let me
and
bring
the pros-
GB
we as
Patil
prosecutors
now. GB Patil, the fact that the politicians of the state continue to be silent or tight-lipped, and they continue to say that this is about him being targeted. Do you think that there have been enough and more efforts made by them in particular to prejudice this case?
In fact, I think probably all of you will be knowing that Mr. Yediyurappa was the chief minister of this state for 4 times. He must be knowing the rules of regulations of the police manual. In spite of that, he is giving a clean chit to the Seer. And at the same time, the Congress chief also says the same thing. Is it the people versus politician? I am just failed to understand. They are supposed to be with the people. They are supposed to be with the downtrodden. They are supposed to be with a minor girl. They say, at one hand, they say they are protecting the child.
Yes.
Beti bachao, beti padhao. What's happening? They are forgetting their own statement. At the same time, the Congress, JDS, everybody is playing the same card here. I fail to understand. Are they above the all these people are above the law? And moreover, Seer, he is avoiding the interrogation. That's more important. He never said all these days that he has done or he has not done. He only says that it is a conspiracy. I just fail to understand what is the conspiracy. You mean to say that he has done this thing, crime? One has to understand that, which is not being done here. He should be interrogated immediately, whatever may be the case. Suppose otherwise the girls will not get the justice, which is normally is not getting in India. downtrodden are not getting the justice in India. The same seer has made so many Swamiji of different caste. He has made Madhara Chennaya. He has made so many downtrodden caste this thing seers. He has forgotten all those. In his same hostel, the small kids are working there.
Yes.
They are studying there.
Yes.
And they are coming to his room as a Appaji. Does he not understand what is the meaning of Appaji? I'm really ashamed of myself. And also I'm being ashamed of myself as a Lingayat. And ashamed of myself, my sheer is this kind of status. I'm sorry. I'm done.
Yes, Mr. Stanley, it takes a lot of courage for somebody from the Lingayat community to actually speak against the seer at a time when the politicians have given him a clean chit. So, Mr. Patil, we certainly laud your courage, and we certainly hope that the girls get justice. There are more voices such as yours who will come up and stand in solidarity with these girls. Yes, please go ahead, Stanley.
Now, if you consider the religion, I think people like Patil, they are the real Lingayats. The Lingayat community, Lingayat Dharma, it came to existence in the 12th century, by Anna Basavanna. It is the one intellectual community, intellectual Dharma, which gave equality to all the castes and irrespective of gender. In 12th century, just imagine. So we don't have anything to talk about religion or Lingayas. We also follow certain values taken from Vachanas and Basavanna, because I am a non-religious person. I don't have a religion for myself. We follow humanity. We teach humanity to our children. Keep it aside. This is not at all related to POCSO Act. So my worry is I am concentrating how we can render justice, both legal and social justice. There are so many children who are still not rescued. We have to talk about them. There are children, they need to be counseled by a professional group with sexual counseling experts, psychiatrists and psychologists. That is not done. And we have given 7 days. It is a golden time for the accused to assure so many issues.
Yes.
The inquiry has to take place in a rapid speed. It has to be conducted in a rapid way.
Should be seen
Justice,
to be delivered as well.
About the justice also, if you watch,
and here that is missing.
How the judiciary acted today, that is the beauty of judiciary. That is the beauty of law. Whatever is happening, whatever the drama is happening in the state, but the law is always higher. Law is blind. Law doesn't care.
Absolutely.
Who is the
Acharya Vikramaditya, the social justice that is being talked about, shouldn't religious seers be talking about that? Why is this entire conspiracy angle being weaved into what was pure crime? Why is there a political angle being brought in what clearly is pure crime?
No, we know this thing. This is a very serious matter. But in past, we should see this thing. The government has done the good things. People like Asaram, nobody supported them. And no, you have seen this thing. The people, though nobody is standing with him, and the justice was done. Why you are basically in a
Acharya Vikramaditya, when you look at all those cases, when it began, when the first set of charges came, or people like you, even then were giving them a clean chit. Only when it was convicted, they were convicted, that the trial began and the evidence was overwhelming, that you decided to wash your hands off him. He became too much of a hot potato to handle.
Today, how can you say this thing? You can just go and see my old bites also. I am clearly saying this thing. I'm saying this thing. We should have a trust on the courts also. Courts, basically. The court has given the clear direction in the case of Asaram, and nobody had supported him. Nobody had supported him. Nobody is standing with him. Not in
Exactly.
The
so even in this case, now that the court has said that he should be sent to jail instead of a hospital, that the court did not give him relief from physical appearance. He was told very clearly that you have to make a physical appearance. That in itself is an indication of the direction in which the court is heading. Yes, please go ahead, Mr. Venkatesh.
See, one of the major challenges is that the kind of language that's employed in this case, victims are absolutely not even spoken about. What they have gone through, what their situation is, how are they faring, how many other victims are there. In fact, when Stanley speaks in terms of, we do not know how many victims are there. It may be that these are the two girls who have come up with the confidence to speak up. And other than that, there are so many of them who may not have spoken. Given the fact that the head of the institution and the warden of the institution are involved in such a heinous crime, demonstrates the kind of fact every parent, in fact, I have been hearing that parents want to take back their children. The children who are very poor, who can't afford education, the parents who can't get them education, send their children to these institutions. You understand that, very important. And they are at the mercy of this institution. The kind of power these institutions wield on the people is so much, on the parents, on the children, on the institution, on the society. Unimaginable level of power that they wield. And such person giving such amount of time to make up things, was it an opportunity to hush the evidence which is available in this particular case? We do not know. We have not come across in POCSO cases so much of leeway being given by the police, just because there is a phenomenal amount of political pressure in this. And this political pressure is not only from the ruling government party, but also from the opposition.
Yes.
And all the political party, everyone is silent regarding this. No one wants to speak a word against him. Everybody seems to be a beneficiary of his largesse or the support that he gets from him. Given that kind of situation, I feel it's high time this case, investigation and trial be transferred to another state.
Okay, let me
it's
give
for
the
the
final
safety
words.
of the children. For us, I believe it's the most important thing, and that's the demand which is being made in the street. Every street in Karnataka, people are demanding, take this brief out of this state. We don't see, because not that I know the police of Karnataka is very, very competent police. I know them for years because I have officiated myself as a state public prosecutor. But the problem which we come across is the kind of pressure that they are putting. The free space that is required for the police is never available.
Let me give the
and
final words.
Strange that the chief minister did not make a statement of this nature in the first instance.
Mr. Patil, will justice come only if it is transferred out of Karnataka? If the investigation is transferred out of Karnataka, yes.
I had a faith in our state police, but now looking at all these things, I feel it should be transferred to some other state. I think it should not be even transferred to the Tamil Nadu. I think it should go to the some very, very the person who is ruled properly. That state it should be. Probably I was thinking that Karnataka state police are much competent to handle this case. But now looking at all these conditions, I feel it should be transferred to some other state. Because I think the girls will not get the justice here.
All right, Mr. Patil, thank you so much for joining us. BT Venkatesh, KB Stanley and Acharya Vikramaditya. Shifting focus to debate 2. The rumblings continue in the Congress ahead of the party's presidential elections, where leaders have called for transparency in the election process. Congress MP Shashi Tharoor has joined the list, writing a letter to the Congress Election Authority Chairman Madhusudan Mistry, calling for the electoral rolls to be made public so that everybody knows who can nominate and who can vote. This is another strong indication that the Trivandrum MP may be throwing his hat in the ring for the top post in the party, but Tharoor joins other leaders like Manish Tiwari, Karti Chidambaram and Anand Sharma, who have raised election questions over this entire election process. The long pending elections are set to be held on October 17th, and the nomination process is set to begin on the 24th of September. There is buzz that a non-Gandhi could take up the top post, as both Rahul Gandhi and Sonia Gandhi are not keen. Rajasthan Chief Minister Ashok Gehlot's name has emerged as the front runner, but the push continues from the Gandhi inner circle to convince Rahul Gandhi to become Congress chief again. A pitch which was made by Ashok Gehlot himself. After multiple election losses and exits of high-profile leaders, the pressure for new leadership and a national revival has only grown. But tremors continue over the process of the elections, which many fear will only uphold the status quo, with the Gandhis at the helm. The last non-Gandhi party president was Sitaram Kesari, who was at the helm of the Congress from 1996 to 1998 for a very brief period. Sonia Gandhi replaced Sitaram Kesari and served as the party chief till 2017. She passed the baton to her son Rahul Gandhi, who led the party till 2019 but resigned after the drubbing in the Lok Sabha elections. Since then, Sonia Gandhi has been serving as the party's interim president. While revival is the need of the hour for the grand old party, will these elections deliver that or maintain the status quo? Moreover, will the chorus for transparency and a non-Gandhi president only grow louder on the road to the elections? Sanjay Jha, political analyst. Rashid Kidwai is an author. Tushar Gupta, senior editor of Swarajya magazine. I'm going to begin with you, Rashid. Let's have a quick recap of all that's happened today first. Let me go straight to Rashid Kidwai. Rashid, if Shashi Tharoor, Karti Chidambaram, Manish Tiwari and others ask the same question about the Electoral College, that they should know who can nominate and who can vote, shouldn't that be seen as a very, very valid question? They are seeking transparency. Isn't that something that the Congress would also want? Because they would want to send that message that this election is free and fair.
Yes, Maria, first of all, we must understand how party elections are conducted in all political parties and in particular the Congress. It is not like, a Lok Sabha election or assembly election. After all, who appoints the BRO, the block returning officer, PRO, DRO, or up to, Madhusudan Mistry. They were all appointed by a Congress president, in this case being Sonia Gandhi and Rahul Gandhi. So this is a long and short of it. I think the Congress internal tussle is heading for a legal battle in courts. Remember, the optics relating to Congress, from Congress point of view, are pretty bad. And there's already a petition is there in a court of law saying that the Congress is not observing, inner party democracy. I think it's going to get murky because many of these people who are questioning it, they are within their rights to question it, Maria. But fact of the matter is they have been there. Somebody's been a youth Congress president. Somebody's been in, in various positions of responsibility. So they know how organized elections are conducted.
Yes, but Sanjay Jha, likes of Karti Chidambaram and Pradyut Bardoloi are not members of the G23. So you may dismiss the members of the G23 when they seek transparency, but what about those leaders who are very much part of the Congress? They are saying, and I am quoting Karti here, he says, every election needs a well-defined and clear electoral college. The process of forming the electoral college must be clear, well-defined and transparent, and an ad hoc electoral college is no electoral college. Again, it's the same set, same words, different people, but same words.
Yeah, Maria, but I do believe that the Congress party now needs to move forward and move on. I'll make two short points. They are absolutely justified, whether it's Karti, Sashi, Manish, anyone, that the process must be transparent, and whoever are the electors or the part of the electoral college who will vote for the Congress president should be known to the contestants. That is a valid point. The second point is, I wish the Congress party, because it is holding a very crucial organizational election, I think the ramifications of this will be felt in the Indian political space, because a new leader can completely change the dynamics. I do believe the Congress party should have had an independent panel comprising of retired chief election commissioners, etc., that Rahul Gandhi had once introduced for the IYC, the Indian Youth Congress elections, around a decade ago. I thought those were steps in the right direction. Having said that, and I think I need to kind of, also advocate what I think is a more reasonable argument here, that number one, the expectation that, these electors have to be on the Indian National Congress website, I don't think that is really a very rational demand. I'll tell you why. Because why should the BJP or why should the Samajwadi Party or the TMC know who your electors are? Why should the media know who it is?
No, but then shouldn't electoral college be constitutionally constituted?
Well, let me tell you, Maria, one thing. I mean, I have also known the Congress now for a long time. I've studied its constitution.
Yeah.
The Congress has traditionally never disclosed who are members of electoral college on a public domain.
Yes.
Why should we do it now?
Okay.
I believe the Congress is completely justified in not doing it. They are making it accessible to who will be the Congress candidate. The second point is crucial too. I mean, everyone is aware that by September, October, the elections are going to be held. So I do believe that although these are all friends of mine and we have been part of G23 support for a while, the truth is these things should have been addressed a long time earlier if you had a problem. You can't now begin to suddenly make this into a big, hullabaloo or a point of debate. Because I don't think it really has that kind of currency at this point of time. Madhusudan Mistry is on record to say that he has done this exercise in a foolproof manner. Obviously, if it isn't, this matter could get
then have faith in Madhusudan Mistry. None of these leaders should be questioning him. If they're demanding transparency and if the transparency doesn't really become the virtue of this entire exercise, then questions will be asked, and as Rashid is hinting that it's heading for a long drawn legal battle as well. Tushar.
Maria, the only thing transparent with the Congress is an infinite loop they find themselves in now. Every election, national or state, there is a defeat of the Congress, and even former Congress persons would agree that Rahul Gandhi is not the winning horse. It's not the electoral horse people want to bet on, to use an analogy. But the problem is the Congress is not willing to look beyond the three Gandhis. And while there might be nothing wrong in their leadership, the truth of the fact is they're not winning them elections. So there is a need for a fresh pace, a fresh perspective, more importantly, to the party affairs, to how they want to approach the elections at the ground level. That is missing for a long time. There was a Chintan shower very recently. Again, it boils down to Rahul Gandhi. We have elections in October. And more or less, again, the same story will come up that Rahul Gandhi should be elected. Rahul Gandhi doesn't want to take the post. Sonia Gandhi would be the interim chief. And the loop goes on. The problem is, for a long period of time, the Congress has drawn its principles, its ideology, its inspiration, its ideas, its philosophies from the Gandhi family, tracing back to Motilal Nehru. Now they need to look for a leader who can move to the future, who set the agenda for the future, talk India 2050 and not India 1940. Can they do that while moving away from the Gandhis? It's a very difficult bet, Maria. I give it to the Congress. It's a difficult bet. But looking at the previous years of elections, it's an important bet. They have no other option.
But then I'll take that thread and thought forward with Rashid. Rashid, if leaders who may be interested in contesting, they do not have access to the electoral roll, they do not know who are nominated, who can vote, then how will they contest? So is there an effort to make this a system which is opaque without an electoral college, only because you want to fix this election and make it about election ho gaya, but the results or the outcomes is known, who will be the party chief?
Yeah, so Maria, ignorance cannot be, a defense or anything like that. The Congress election process, whatever what it is, was started a year back. There was enrollment drive. As we understand, one has to be a primary member, then active member, and active member becomes a block member, and block members elect PCC delegates. District Congress committees elect, the AICC delegates. All these things are there. Whether it's a farce or not, this is the internal Congress matter. You cannot have election commissioners who are not part of Congress party.
But Rashid,
members.
Forget about the political opponents of the Congress. In fact, they are not even questioning the process. These questions are coming from within. Yes, insiders.
Yeah. insiders, that's what I'm saying, Maria. I don't want to take names, but all these people have been there. They have seen they've seen Tirupati election, they have seen Calcutta election, they have seen, the Delhi election, all kind of, wherever the Congress plenary was held and this kind of, however partial the elections were, they were held. And some of them being beneficiaries of that system. So I'm saying that one fine day you cannot get up. I mean, the politics is there. They can go to court, they can challenge it, they can do all these things. But every political party has a structure. If I ask Samajwadi Party or BJP or Akali Dal or any political party, do they have electoral roll? Do they have this kind of mechanism? Answer is
yes,
no.
okay.
So this is not in defense of Congress.
Tushar, yes, fine enough. Tushar, we really do not know about the electoral college of any political party in India, be it the BJP or any of the regional parties either.
Maria, okay, fine. I give it to Rashid Kidwai here that we do not need to care about the electoral college or how the Congress president is nominated. My simple question is that why is the party for the last 10 years now fixed in this infinite loop where they end up on the three Gandhis when it comes to electing the next president? Why are they not willing to break out of this loop? Sanjay Jha on a number of occasions has suggested why not a Sachin Pilot, for instance, or why not Scindia before he moved to the BJP? Why can't the party, irrespective of the process, look at a face which is different from the Gandhis?
Okay.
That's my problem.
Sanjay Jha.
I understand they do not want to make their electoral college public. I understand they do not want to make their process public. But what is very public is their unwillingness, is their
because then when you go back in time, then even in 2017, Rahul Gandhi was elected unopposed. Even that election will be put to question because even then the electoral college was not known, Sanjay Jha.
Maria, let me tell you, I think first and foremost, let's acknowledge that the Congress party is doing a good thing. Not many parties can even have, lay claim to this progressive step of having an election. Now, I do believe that no system is necessarily 100% foolproof, or it doesn't have some kind of a flaw. It may not be ideal, but you got to move on with it, number one. Number two, I don't share the skepticism or the cynicism of many of my colleagues here. I have been one of the most vocal critiques of the fact that the Congress has become very anachronistic. So why am I trying to justify it today? For only one reason. It's a step forward. And let me tell you something. Mistry has been on record to say that whoever is the official candidate will have access to the data. So I really don't think...
So then in that case, if any of these leaders who are questioning it should actually declare themselves that they that they plan to contest, Rashid, and then only the electoral list will be known to them.
Absolutely.
Final words for you, Rashid, 20 seconds.
Absolutely, Maria. You see, the thing is that the Congress has highest number of delegates from UP, Bihar, Bengal, Tamil Nadu, and if these people come together, then whoever they back that person would win. And second thing is, it is actually lack of electoral success that is raising all these issues. Maria, my good friend Tushar is not, asking anything about, the state of Biju Janata Dal and DMK and Samajwadi Party and several things, because they are winning. Because they are
electoral
relevant.
Successes is what matters in politics.
Paramount. Absolutely.
Yes, it's paramount, and that's what defines a political party. If you're able to win elections, and that is also a validation of everything that the party stands for. All right, thank you so much for joining us, Rashid Kidwai, Tushar, and Sanjay Jha. We are slipping into a short break. After that, a major step towards self-reliance in the defense sector. Prime Minister Narendra Modi commissioned India's first indigenous aircraft carrier, INS Vikrant, at the Cochin shipyard today. The Prime Minister also unveiled the Indian Navy's new flag, which drops the colonial St. George's Cross and incorporates the royal seal of Chhatrapati Shivaji. A special report after a very short break. Stay with us.